Alright, today we're going to be showing off retro games or retro Nintendo games. I consider these games retro. I'm also showing off Gamecube games because I don't know where else I'd put them into this collection because I have such a little amount. But I'm considering these retro because the majority of these, in fact all of these, are from before I was born. So beginning with, we have NES games, which I have a total of 3 NES games. First game I got was Mario Brothers and Duck Hunt, which I bought all the way back in 2017. I was about 12 because I just thought it looked cool and I wanted to have something. I always really liked the NES, well I thought I did, until I picked one up last year and realised that, frankly, I don't love those kind of games. Other game I have is Luna Pool. I got this just so I could fill out my collection, and it's an 8-bit pool game. And then the next one is Rad Racer, which is part of the Nintendo series for the NES. I don't think this game even worked, but it's sitting in my collection. That's all the NES games I have. I probably won't get any more NES games. The only one I'm after maybe is Mario 3. The next console I'm going over is the Game Boy. Now, I don't have an original Game Boy, but I do have a Game Boy Color, which I picked up close to 3.5 years ago. And when I picked this up, I also managed to score 3 pretty good games. Original Mario Land, Wario Land, and Dr. Mario. So I had these games for a while, and then I came back to the same store and I picked up Mega Man and Miss Pac-Man. I also managed to get Kid Icarus for the Game Boy a bit later on. And then I came back recently, probably within the past 6 months, and they had a Game Boy Advance SP, which I've never actually seen. This is the first time I've ever held a Game Boy Advance SP, was the one that I've owned. And I also picked up the original Mario Brothers for the Game Boy Advance. I was hoping to get more Game Boy Advance games, but frankly in Australia they seem really pricey. I was hoping to get maybe Sonic Advanced or even part of the Mario Advance collection. I'm not a Pokemon person, and also they're just so ridiculously expensive that I'm not going to waste my money on games that I don't really enjoy. But I also picked up Tetris, which is obviously a must-have and probably the Game Boy game I've played the most. And then the most recent pickups are the original Kirby's Dream Land, and both Donkey Kong Land 1 and 2, which all of these games I reckon I got for under $20 each from this store in my local area. So pretty happy to get these games. I love the Donkey Kong Country style aesthetic and box art with the 3D renders, but these games suffer from massive screen crunch. Next console is the Super Nintendo, which I picked up off my uncle when I was about 11, and I didn't really start collecting games for it until recently. But when I got it off him, it came with the first FIFA, which I actually happened to have the box for, which is the only box I have for any of the retro games. But yeah, original FIFA, it plays exactly how you'd imagine it. And the next game I got, probably about 2017, was Mario All-Stars, which I talked about in my most recent haul video. But obviously this is the original good version, because at the time this game was a very good deal. And I played a fair bit of this. Yeah, I think I beat Mario. I think I beat the original Mario Brothers on this version. It's the only time I've ever completed that game. Then, probably 3 years ago, I picked up Super Mario World, which I'd probably consider to be my favourite 2D Mario game. I love the music and the sprite work in this game. I just think it's very nice aesthetically. So I picked this up. I haven't beaten it though, because I think it's the forest level where they all secret endings, which annoyed me. Picked up the original F-Zero as well, which I've hardly played. I don't really love F-Zero on this version, and the other Game Boy and N64 ones are just hundreds and hundreds of dollars. Here in Australia, at least. Haven't played them. I played the F-Zero 99, which came out on the Switch a few years ago, but it's the same game, same model, which I don't love. Then Super Mario Kart. I played this at a friend's house when I was really young. Obviously, I don't think this game's aged that well, but it's very unique, and yeah. Now I'm only missing one Mario game, which is Super Circuit, which was probably the only Game Boy Advance game I'd like to pick up. And the final SNES game is Super Mario World 2, Yoshi's Island. This game looks crazy and has crazy music for 1994, I think. But personally, I don't like this game. I've tried to get to it many times, but I can't. But I would one day want to beat this. But I think those are all the SNES games I'd ever want. I can't imagine any more I'd need. Because frankly, as I said before, that era of game I just don't really like. I can't find myself to like those arcade style of games. Next console I picked up 3 years ago was N64, which I picked up 1080 Snowboarding because it's a Nintendo published game. And yeah, it's just a sports title from that era. Continuing with the sports title, I also have Wave Race 64, which I don't think I've ever played, but I like the beach aesthetic of these games. It's similar to, not beach theme, but the Sega Bass Fishing, which reminds me of that. And then Pilot Wing 64, which was a launch title for N64, which I guess you consider a sports game. But here it is. And then the more proper games, Super Mario 64, which I have actually beaten this version. I've beaten the DS version and the 3D All-Stars version, and I've beaten this one. Obviously it's quite cliche to say it, but this game is great. The aesthetic, the music, very good game. Next game, Lilac Wars, or as more commonly known, Star Fox 64, but in European regions, Lilac Wars. This copy's a bit dinged up, but I think I only paid about $15 for this, so for a Nintendo published game, I'll take it. Next game, Banjo-Kazooie. I love 3D platformers, but I haven't given this one a proper go. I played it a little bit and just couldn't quite get pulled into it. I wanted the Xbox 360 version, so you can, HD, better controls, achievements even, but I forgot about it, and then they closed the 360 marketplace, so I'm stuck with this version. I'm hoping they re-release this one day, but all the legal battle with Rare and Xbox, I don't know if it'll ever come back. And finally, Mario Kart 64, which I played a fair bit of this, but I never unlocked the second menu screen. But one day I would like to possibly get that. And the final set of games in my retro collection are the Gamecube games, which I've mentioned numerous times before are extremely expensive in Australia. The first one I got is Mario Sunshine, and I have always loved Mario Sunshine. I got this in 2018 for my 13th birthday, because I really wanted this game. I loved the music, the art style of this game, and I finally played it, and in my opinion, it lived up to the expectation I had in my mind. I consider this my favourite Mario game. Obviously, I don't think it's the best. It does have a few shortcomings, which are well known, but this is the Mario game I'd go back to every single time, and I 100%ed it on the 3D All-Stars collection from 2020. The next GameCube game I got is Shrek 2, because you've got to own this. I remember playing this on the PlayStation at a friend's house, and also at restaurants on those built-in cabinets they had. I remember playing this game. Now, I'll mention I don't actually have a GameCube. I have to use the backwards compatible Wii. So GameCube's the only console that I'm missing that I still want, but the Wii is perfectly fine. For now, And the next two games are probably some of the most expensive games I own in my collection. They're not rare, but they're just expensive. Beginning with Melee, which I picked up probably around this time last year, maybe a bit earlier. Because it was about, I think it was about $90, and I thought, it's only going to go up in value. I'm not going to find it for cheap. So I paid the big dollars and got a very nice copy of it. And I played this game for probably about a whole month, and I beat the story mode, got all the characters. And yeah, I understand the hype of this game, and yeah, great game. Next game I picked up is a game I wanted for ages, probably around this time last year as well. Mario Kart Double Dash. I've always loved the aesthetic of this game and the music, and I finally picked it up, and I paid a lot of money for this, but it's gone up in value since I bought it. This game probably didn't quite live up to the hype that I had in my mind. I put a very high expectation for this game in my mind, but I picked it up. I still think it's great, and it's in a plastic sleeve because I want to protect it, because this copy is very good. Since I didn't record a proper outro for this video, I figured I could make a list of potential games I'd still like to try and get. For each console covered in this video, I'm very happy with the collection I have. However, this is more of a dream list of games, some of the ones I'd like to get going forward, try and keep an eye out for. Firstly, NES, Super Mario 2 and Mario 3, pretty obvious. Donkey Kong, if possible, and maybe just part of the Nintendo Black Box series to help beef up the collection. If I'm really struggling, maybe get a few just sort of filler, random games, but I don't want to get too many bad games because I don't want to dilute the quality of my collection. SNES, already said I'm very happy with my collection of these games. Only one I'm thinking of missing maybe is Donkey Kong Country. I'll also mention now that Zelda games are really expensive in Australia as a general rule, so unless I find a cheap copy, I'm not exactly after them, but I would still love to get them one day maybe. For the original Game Boy, I can't get over how many Nintendo games I already actually own. So the only one I'm thinking of missing is Super Mario Land 2. Moving on to the Game Boy Advance, Mario Kart Super Circuit is probably the game I want the most. And then with a bit of luck, maybe some of the Sonic Advance games, but apart from that, that's basically it. Finally, N64, original GoldenEye. I played this once at a friend's house. Next one is Smash Bros. 64. It's the only Smash game I still don't have, and I've never even played it. Never played it on emulation or anything. It's a bit pricey, but I'd say it's worth it. Maybe some of the Mario sports titles like Mario Tennis or Mario Golf. And randomly, I really want to get Pokemon Snap. Alright, next up, Gamecube. As mentioned before, I love the tone and world of Gamecube games. So for that reason, Luigi's Mansion's up there with the tone, art style of that game. Really want to get that one. But every other Nintendo game is basically out of the question because they're so ridiculously expensive that I might as well emulate them. Only the two games I'd like to get is Sonic Adventure 1 and Sonic Adventure 2. Main reason for wanting these is I consider Sonic Adventure 1 to be one of my favourite games, period. I just really enjoy that game, but I've only ever played it on Steam, so I would like to get that physically.